This may be the last time we see our legend, the greatest fighter of this generation. I told y'all back then that Bud would beat Floyd Mayweather. Y'all didn't believe me.
He's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure.
Do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just does it. What for what? Terence Crawford, we know what you are.
Boxing experts explain why Terence Crawford is now regarded as the GOAT after his historic victory over Canelo Alvarez. Many argue that his rise through weight divisions while staying dominant shows a rare greatness that separates him from former champions. Robert Garcia supported this idea, noting that Crawford has done more than Floyd Mayweather in this respect. He highlighted how Crawford clearly won 9 or 10 rounds and displayed a relentless hunger Canelo couldn't match. Garcia stressed that Mayweather never tried such a bold challenge, making Crawford's triumph one of boxing's most impressive achievements.
Has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws 1 punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money that he's not hungry anymore.
You think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3 division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes.
Greg Hackett firmly rejected the notion that Terence Crawford needs another huge bout to prove his greatness, even after Turki Alalshik floated a fight with David Benavidez. Hackett insisted that Crawford has already secured his place in boxing history by stepping up in weight to defeat Canelo Alvarez so decisively, something few believed possible in such fashion. For Hackett, this was more than another win. It was a career-defining success that sealed Crawford's status among the sports legends. He stressed that moving from welterweight to super middleweight to conquer one of this era's most respected champions was unprecedented. In his view, this moment alone locks Crawford's legacy. He doesn't need Benavidez or anyone else to confirm what he has already done. Hackett concluded that sometimes a single fight tells an entire story, and Crawford's victory over Canelo is exactly that.
The Knievel effect, like, all right, you jumped over 3 buses. Let's say if you could do 10 buses. You know what I'm saying? He trying to test his limits, and they think the money is going to keep getting him out there. That fight is pointless. The fight is pointless because nobody ever talked about that fight until now. And then I don't feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. And you know, I believe Benavidez had some tough tasks in front of him that he want to conquer before even talking like that. I don't even think he wanted to talk like that because there's really no point. He wanted the Canelo fight because Canelo was the man at 68. He was at 68. I don't think he cared about fighting Bud, and I don't think Bud cared about fighting Benavidez. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
I understand that Turkey likes to make these big grand events, but there's a boxing aspect to this shit too. Like, some stuff gotta make boxing sense. bringing the dude down that's been comfortable at 75, bringing him back down to 68, and then having him fight a dude that just jumped 3 weight classes in 2 fights and started his career off at 35.
Right.
Like, no, bro. No.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. There's no point. There's no point. Like I said, Bud need to just go get a line of suits. You know what I'm saying? Get ready to just start talking about this shit.
What kind of suit?
I don't know what's the...
Showbiz, the adult called Crawford's achievement one of the most impressive single-fight feats in modern boxing. He admired how Crawford climbed steadily from welterweight to middleweight, finally reaching 168 pounds to defeat Canelo Alvarez with a flawless plan. For him, this wasn't luck, but a carefully prepared rise where every step led to the ultimate challenge. Showbiz stressed that the bout felt destined, as if written long ago. Crawford appeared ready, polished, and sharper than ever. He stated that Crawford has nothing more to prove because this was the fight of fights. To Showbiz, the boxing world now has enough to close the book on Crawford's greatness, as his dominance over Canelo revealed every quality of a legend. He added that no one needs to test him again, since Crawford has already shown all that's needed to confirm his place at the sports summit.
Thoroughly just knew there was no way Terence Bud Crawford beat Saul Canelo Alvarez at 168. Canelo Alvarez was the super middleweight undisputed champion and younger. Terence Crawford was 26 at lightweight. Canelo Alvarez at 26, what was he, a middleweight? Terence Bud Crawford just grew to 154 at 36 years old. Canelo hasn't been able to make 154 since he was a baby. Terence Bud Crawford jumped up from welterweight to super middleweight to beat one of the greatest fighters of all time, to become 3-time undisputed in 3 different weight classes. Enough said.
Enough said.
It shed light on his victory against Errol the Truth Spence. That is for damn sure. Just the way he dominated him. Errol Spence was in there like, what the? If Canelo is saying there wasn't shit I can do in there, Errol Spence had to have been in there like, holy shit. It brings light to his resume. Everybody ducked him. We kind of knew that Bob Arum had Manny Pacquiao avoid Terence Crawford. I can't say Manny Pacquiao avoided Terence Crawford, but Bob Arum definitely did. PBC, welterweights in the PBC, all avoided him. I am here to give credit to Terence Crawford for being one of the most ducked fighters in history. So you cannot any longer blame his resume, his greatness, and look at his resume when we all know, genuinely, we have to be genuine, that he is one of the most ducked fighters of all time, like Bob Foster, like Black Murderers Row, Charlie Burley and Eddie Booker and all those guys. Listen, Terence Crawford by himself is Black Murderers Row of this era. Now, do I need Terence Bud Crawford to continue fighting? Hell no. For what? If you beat Terence Crawford now, what do you want him to strip down to 160, lose that muscle mass he has, and be a little bit... We saw that with Roy Jones Jr., but he can do it. He's the everything man. He can do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just doesn't...
Tim Bradley has always backed Terence Crawford's greatness, and after this fight, he felt fully justified. He reminded everyone that he had long called Crawford the baddest man alive. The way Crawford handled Canelo Alvarez proved him right. Bradley stressed that many skeptics thought Crawford was too small for the higher divisions. Yet he not only competed, but ruled with shocking ease. He noted how effortless the display looked, as though Crawford was sparring rather than facing one of boxing's hardest punchers. For Bradley, this win lifts Crawford into a level beyond most champions, even daring him to be compared favorably to Floyd Mayweather. He argued that Crawford has reached a stage where any debate about the greatest boxer ever must start with his name. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo. It was about reshaping the meaning of pound-for-pound supremacy and possibly proving Crawford is the finest fighter boxing has ever seen.
Tell you. Terence Bud Crawford, the baddest man on the planet. Y'all saying, no, he too small, Tim. He too small. Man, that was easy. That was easy. That was more easy than I thought. Terence said he was gonna have him crying, and he had him crying when they was walking out. They was crying. Oh yeah, they were damn crying. They was upset, head was down. They couldn't believe what they just witnessed. Oh yeah, boxing performance. I told y'all this was gonna be one of the greatest boxing performances of all times. I told y'all. Y'all didn't believe me. Oh, Tim, you over here, you riding Crawford. You riding him like he God. You riding him like he invincible, all this stuff. You don't see that greatness now? You don't see that greatness. Yeah, hey, go ahead and hop on the train. It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his...
Luke Thomas portrayed Crawford as nothing less than a boxing genius. He reflected on how Canelo Alvarez, often compared to icons and a conqueror of countless contenders, was made to seem ordinary under Crawford's command. To Thomas, it resembled Crawford's earlier effort against Ricky Burns, though on a far grander, historic scale. Canelo isn't an average fighter. He's among the most decorated and skilled champions today. Still, Crawford took him apart with precision. Thomas stressed that the brilliance wasn't only in the win, but in how Crawford predicted every move, used perfect timing, and stripped Canelo of his usual strengths. He called it a masterclass that stunned experts because of how easy it looked. The fact Crawford could make someone of Canelo's stature seem so basic, Thomas believes, secures him as one of the sport's greatest strategic minds.
Effect because it wasn't working. Or they were like, threatened in some kind of way. It was fucking Canelo. Canelo had some good punches in this fight. I thought early on that left hook to the body, which he got away from in the middle parts of the fight, got back to it a little bit at the end, but again, he was catching and shooting was a big part of why that went away. Bud was like, bop, catching him for it. Several times he hit him with that. Canelo had a decent jab at times. That right hand was able to catch Bud cleanly a couple of times, but not really. Bud's face looked normal, fine. You would never have known he went 12 rounds. Remarkable beyond words, man. Remarkable. That is so, I fucking hope and pray that everyone who is I don't know what the casuals are gonna say. I really don't. But for the real fight fans, the ones who are probably watching the stream, I hope you appreciate what you just took a look at. Daring to be great. Daring to do what people just basically, people have unified, or I should say, I've gone undisputed in 3 weight classes before, but it's exceedingly rare, right? And to go up such a fucking jump. And let's go over one more thing if we can here for just a moment. One of the things that Bud has been trying to argue is that the boxing establishment has overlooked him. He was never their darling. He was never the guy that they picked. He was never the one that they chose ahead of time. And we're like, we're going to anoint you as our figure. He was never that guy, that was not him. And beating Spence got him pretty far away in terms of like changing attitudes, but Canelo was the big one because Canelo was that guy. Now, Canelo, of course, earned everything he's gotten too. That's not the point. But like what I'm trying to say is Canelo was the promotional darling. Hello, the face of boxing. You know what I mean? And not just the face of boxing in this country, the face of boxing in another country. Dude, this motherfucker was the face of boxing worldwide, but in particular in North America, right? And something of a promotional darling, and always the A side, and this, that, and the other. And that was not Crawford's journey, man. That was, that was not Crawford's, he was fighting the Ricky Burns of the